And during that moment, they sucked the energy. The energy sucked and passed on down there. Now, what happens actually is, whenever there are blockages which go and settle on your chakras, energy centers. And as you know very well, the law of physics, the basic fundamental law of physics is mass into acceleration is a force. When the mass increases, they become little gross-like. The subtlety is lost. They slow down. And when they slow down, the capacity to absorb reduces. And the capacity drops down, the absolute terms, they receive less energy. So now we have got the rate of input becomes less than the rate of output. If you see, as human activities, we are all increasing our activities day by day. Our activities are growing. The energy requiring for our outputs is growing. And at the same time, the energy required for the inputs is reducing. That is called stress. When the rate of input drops down below the rate of output, the stress-like situation starts getting created. And once it becomes even lesser than output, we have total collapse, nervous breakdown in our life. You understand what the whole concept I'm talking about? Now what Reiki does is, Reiki basically initiates your chakras. Energy centers are purified. They're cleansed by certain mechanism. There are initiations. That's why it is a 2 days program generally we talk about. The clock centers revive lesser energy than required by the human life, causes imbalance, causes disease, physical, mental, emotional, etc. Because disease is nothing but imbalance. If you see today what is happening all over the world, we have been trying to map since almost July this year till this point. If you see the global position, such a turmoil in the earth, all over. The earthquakes, the cyclones, the floods, the fires, what is missing? Everything is being given there. Like you can choose. Question is why it is happening. Even the nature is trying to restore the equilibrium. Because equilibrium is a peace. Balance is a peace. Somewhere that balance is disturbed. Somewhere there's a disequilibrium. And the nature has its own ways. And the human beings also have to find out our own ways to balance ourselves. Now Reiki is one of the ways to balance your whole existence. Yeah, next point please. When it comes to Reiki practice, I'll just quickly talk about there are 2 levels of learning as far as the healing is concerned. Level 1 is purification, level 2 is expansion. Besides, one can go to level 3, which is mainly for teaching proficiency. Level 1 empowers one to heal by touch, and level 2 provides intentional healing abilities. Right? So this is as far as the course and Reiki methods and procedures are concerned. Is that getting clear? So basically, though there are, again, specifically I'm trying to put this slide here and talk about it is because like everything else, Reiki process is also going to getting contaminated. Is getting somewhat diluted, I should say, not contaminated. I think that would be a better word. Because what has happened, there are a lot of compromises in terms of times, in terms of convenience. But by cutting short the technology, I think you're not going to go anywhere. So somewhere, we have got to understand there are only 2, because there are people started talking of 8 and 10 and 20 degrees and 50 degrees. That's all nonsense as far as the Usui system of Reiki is concerned. If somebody is talking about any other system, I think they are welcome to say so. But as for the tradition, there are 2 levels for healing and a 3rd level for teaching proficiency. After 2nd degree, there's no healing that you cannot do. And after all these experiences, I'm saying it so confidently. The question is, would you choose to be the healer? Yeah. Then 1st level, you can do everything, but it has a limitation because you can touch. Our body has limitation, our hands have limitation. Wherever you can touch, you can heal. In the 2nd, we call it expansion because you're beyond time and space. You work on your intention. Intention. I would suggest you here, there's a book, The Power of Intention, which is very popular, one of the bestsellers. You should read this book and you would know exactly what I'm talking as far as the intentional Reiki is concerned. Is that clear? Yeah, next point please. Again, coming to Reiki practice, the courses are spread over 2 days per class. The practitioner, once proficient in Reiki, has to take Reiki on 26 points of the body for 3 minutes at each point. The practitioner can heal others by touch right from the first day of their learning. So generally it is spread over 2 days, 16 working hours classes, and there are 4 initiations, out of which 2 initiations are done on the first day and the balance 2 are done on the second day, in both the cases. And the practitioner can heal practically from the time you learn. It doesn't have to have any kind of a gestation period or any kind of a time lag. You can write from the second day once your chakras get cleansed. So what we do actually in initiation, we cleanse that. We remove that dirt on the chakras, as you can say. Dirt is a very objective word. But whatever that is clogging actually on the chakras is removed. But thereafter we need to maintain them. It is like you may have some silver utensil or golden thing, now, especially the silver if you talk, You remove after a certain time, if you are not used for long, what happens is it becomes tarnished, black, if it is not lacquered. Original silver will always become black because of silver oxide. And you need to cleanse. Once you cleanse it, what happens is the shine comes from within. Only thing, there was a layer formed outside. So similarly, on our existence, there are layers of our own blockages. Now, they need to be removed, but thereafter, you have to maintain it every day. So 2 days practice, and thereafter, you need to maintain every day, because every day we are doing some actions. Every day the past actions are catching up with us. So it is better the way we take a bath. This is an energy bath. So that's why I call it a serious spiritual practice, which is capable of leading you to the ultimate peace, bliss, and happiness. And now coming to the application part, Reiki can be applied for holistic peace and happiness, within which second level, physical body healing, managing diseases, relationship issues at home and workplaces, performance at work without stress, and performance to learning without stress. Now I'm adding that learning here mainly for the student's purpose. Yeah, next one please. So it works mainly on the 4 levels as one can see. Reiki applications, better leadership by management of energy centers, managing ideas, thoughts and emotions becomes easier. Reiki brings in openness, awareness and realization, leading to ultimate wisdom, which is called enlightenment. Now when I'm talking of managing ideas, if you see, the major problem today is managing emotions. A major problem. We all tell our children, we all tell young students, don't get angry. I don't tell them. What do I tell them? I say, what do you do when you get angry? Teaching them how to manage emotions. So it is very difficult, very easy to say the whole world is telling them what not to do. Today we need to create options for the new generation. And Reiki does that. The moment you realize that your emotions can be handled, because your emotion is nothing but an experience of your consciousness moving through a particular energy center at that point of time. Yeah? This emotion is nothing but the experience of your own consciousness passing through a particular energy center, because every energy center has certain properties, certain features. For example, if you're going from here to Chicago as a downtown, probably you'll find some area. Can somebody name what area be? I'm not familiar with these areas. Which?
Lincoln Park.
Lincoln? Heart. Okay, so if you travel through Lincoln Heart, what will you see when you are driving through Lincoln Heart? Park? Yeah. There's a park there, that's what you see. Can you see something which is happening in Palatine there?
No.
Can you see something which is happening at the airport side? No. Because when you pass through that, you see the surroundings. Yeah? So every chakra, every energy center has certain emotions built in that. For example, you're getting angry at this moment. No? You can definitely say your consciousness is traveling at this moment through your solar plexus. There are 3 very important questions in our life. One is, where am I? Secondly, where do I want to be? And thirdly, how? And the first 2 questions are very individualistic, because I don't know where you are. I wouldn't know where you want to be. But if you tell me these 2, I'll give you like a ticket booking agent, and I'll tell you how. I'm like a tourist consultant, But you have to tell me where from, where to where. Somewhere you need to understand, and Reiki gives you this understanding fully. Reiki practice gives you the way to handle your emotions. You can change your emotion at your will. The problem is not the emotion. The problem is we are getting emotionally driven. No? Emotions one must have. Emotion is a part of us. But we should be driving the emotions. I should get angry when I want. Today what is happening? Our remote controls are all out. Somebody says something and you get angry. Somebody says something and you feel crying. Somebody says something and you get hurt. No? Who is the slave and who is the master? If the whole world is going to decide what you should emote at this moment, I think the life is not worth. You should have emotions. But the emotion should be at your command. you should be able to manage your emotions. Managing emotions means managing life. Because everything is emotion. If you see, there's nothing which is not. Your pain is emotion, your pleasure is emotion, your happiness is emotion, your sadness is emotion, your anger is emotion. What is not emotion? And Reiki directly connects to your emotions because it directly connects to the chakras. And the moment you realize where you are, and the Reiki practice tells you where you want to be, you can go. It becomes proactive. You need to be proactive. Today we are become reactive. Everybody is reacting. We have stopped acting nowadays. So somewhere we need to take control of our lives within. That is what happiness is all about. You see, and Reiki is perfectly making you capable of doing that. I see lots of my students, when they come and tell me, sir, there's such a transformation in my life, and when the parents and their families come and tell me, their employees come and tell me, today I'm extremely happy to seeing the change in the students, the teachers are coming to learn Reiki in the schools and colleges. That's a big compliment. Because they know. They say, I saw that student, he was like this last year. Today, I find him so nice, so intelligent, so focused. Because your mind has to be focused. Your mind is corrupt. Your intellect is corrupt. And you cannot achieve anything in life. We are losing the directions. Somebody was asking this question this afternoon. The science, I respect the science. I'm a scientist myself. But if you see the science till 1980 was more direction oriented. Even if you see pharma industry, if you see engineering industry, if you see nuclear industry, all sciences are basically addressing the generic problems of the human beings. Today, the science is losing direction, I'm very sorry to say. Somewhere they are going away from the generic problems. And the generic problems are all coming back. The whole world knows about it now. Yeah? We are talking of flu. 1918, we had this kind of situation before. And again, after 80 years, 78 years, 77 years, if you're going to address the same problem again, sometimes one has to wonder whether we have progressed or we have digressed. The meaning of science is lost. The direction of science is lost. There's no battle with the science. Ultimately, science has to be there. But science with direction. Science is a power. Yeah? The knowledge is the power. If it is directly directed towards peace and happiness. Today we know how many, this medical science, I've been talking to a lot of Texas Midland doctors, top-notch doctors happen to be my students. I'm very proud to say that. And when we talk to them, we realize that today's medicine does not heal. It does not heal. Painkillers do not kill the pain. They kill you over a period. No. They just kill a feeling of pain for the time being. But not the root. Somewhere we need to understand. Somewhere we need to go to the basics and understand what is causing the problem in our life. Suffering is not our right. Suffering is not our right. Our right is happiness. You see, when you're a very small kid, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, look at your own albums. So innocent, so wonderful, so cute, so happy. Yeah? We were all born happy. Somewhere that happiness is gone. Somewhere as happiness is covered, it has not gone anywhere. It has not gone out of the system. We need to remove those layers. We need to remove those coverings. Somewhere we need to go to the happiness which is us. We are the happiness. You and me are the happiness. And Reiki gives that happiness back to you. You see? Today I'm talking about this openness, awareness and realization. In the corporate industry we talk about it. See, our ego of science, our ego of knowledge is blocking our openness. You're not open to see certain things. And unless you're open, you can't be aware. And unless you're aware, you can't be realized. I think the learning has to happen in these three primary phases. It is not happening because we are all getting blocked about this. A lot of people, when we talk about the energy science, today I think it is much easier to say, easier to understand, because we are talking of what we can say subtle science much more today. Because on one side we are talking of cellular technologies, nanotechnologies, virtual science, we are talking space technologies. Well, gross element is going down. If you see in the computer industry, in 1970s and 80s, the hardware used to cost quite a lot. And the software was not even 1-2% of the total system. Today, it is reversed. Hardware are cheap and the softwares are expensive. Something which is not seen, something which is subtle, something which is not gross, is getting more value. And so would happen to the human life. And Reiki addresses this problem. Yeah, next one, please. Reiki does not demand change in lifestyle. The corrections within happen. It doesn't ask you, as compared to the other traditional spiritual practices which require a lot of discipline. Reiki does not expect that discipline. It doesn't say don't eat this, don't drink that, don't do that. It says do everything that you feel like. It works on your feeling. It calibrates you from within. It makes your purity in your existence from within. So it doesn't have that stress of leaving something. So, and Reiki practitioners enjoy a blissful life with no stress in the day-to-day life. Now this is something you can perform without stress. Now somewhere I think we have got the model wrong. We feel we can perform only when we are under stress. You cannot. Only for a short term, maybe, but that is not the performance. Performance necessarily has to be consistent. If you see, the mind is peaceful, mind is happy, you perform better. The peaceful mind performs better. In many of the games that we have been seeing, of course the cricket is not being played here, but I asked a lot of people about this who believe in pressure is performance. When India plays some team like Australia, some strong teams, and one player who performs all the time comes to bat, what they do, the opposite players, they try to disturb him. They slang, they abuse, they disturb. Why? If the disturbed mind performs, why should they do it? They know the disturbed mind does not perform. So the whole world knows that when we are disturbed, when we are unfocused, we cannot perform. Is that getting clear? Yeah. The mind without stress performs consistently over long periods. Motivation drivers which are more powerful than external ones. Synchronization with one's own happiness with social happiness becomes much effective and easier. Because ultimately we have to live in society. The problem is we are not synchronizing our happiness with the social happiness. Society is nothing but your own reflection. You see? When you are happy, suddenly you realize everything becomes so happy. And that's an experience I'm talking about. That's the experience of 99.99% of people who learn Reiki. And the experience, we are talking of two kinds of research. Generally in medicine, empirical research and clinical research. I'm talking of empirical research. But you see the people and they say, oh, so the whole world looks so different. You see? Somewhere I think that the eyes to look to the whole world were probably clogged, and now the clarity is there. The happiness is around. Nothing is wrong with the world, mind you. When I ask this question to a lot of people, I've been trying to find out, because we say the whole world is bad. And I've been asking everyone, who is bad among you? So that's about 1,000 seminars, workshops I must have taken in the last 10 years, from villages to the towns to the cities. I have not yet found anybody who raised their hand and said, I'm bad, or I want to be bad. Then who is the bad? What are they? Why should we say the world is bad? Because the problem is everybody feels I'm good, everybody else is bad. So somewhere we need to really understand that manage yourself. You are the manageable factor. Manage the manageable, so unmanageable gets managed. I think that is a basic principle of management. Unfortunately, we are all trying to manage the unmanageables. In the process, nobody manages anything. Everybody manipulates. Today we are going more by management than manipulation. MBM. Earlier we used to talk MBO. You see? So this is somewhere which you'll have to really understand, that when you become happy, see, this is my favorite dream, and I want to share with all of you, young generation. Whatever number of people we have, what is the total population of the world? Can somebody tell me?
6.2 billion.
6.2 billion people. So today, 6.2 billion people tonight when they sleep, make a resolution that tomorrow, no matter what happens, I'll be good. The heaven comes here tomorrow. The earth will become heaven. Heaven is not outside. The problem is everybody is telling everybody else to be nice. You see? And in the process, nobody is going to be nice. Tonight, we need to make only one resolution. For heaven's sake, do it with me. Let us at least start with some people. And Reiki does that. Reiki gives you courage to be happy today. Because happy people are in minority. That's why I would use the word courage. So let us be happy. If you are not happy, actually you are adding this to the strength of unhappy people. You are losing the battle even before you fight. Just by cursing the badness, the things may not improve. Sometimes we advise you on the government of India. And sometimes I realize the bad people, when they come to power, they use the power right from the first word. right from the first moment. The good people, when they come to the power, they don't choose. Somewhere we have got to learn from those models. I believe many a time the badness is a learning process for the good people. Learn from them. Somewhere you need to use. If you're good, you don't use your power for good purposes, your goodness has no value. Today, unfortunately, the good people are indifferent. That is the problem. We are already losing the battle. So purify, be happy with yourself, be peaceful, and peace spreads. The happiness spreads faster than diseases. Yeah, next one, please. Reiki and its influence in life. Reiki, business productivity, focus learning, relationship, family, physical healing. No, it is not a practice which is unfortunately confined only to the physical healing, because our understanding is only physical. Let us expand our understanding to understand that it is reflecting everywhere. As some times ago when I was introduced, it was told that we have started a program, SAFE, Spiritual Awareness of Family Enlightenment. I'll tell you a little background of that. What happened is, I've been teaching, as I said, for the last about 10, 11 years. And for the last 4 years ago, suddenly I had a suspicion. I realized when the whole family has learned to me, what normally happens in India and even some places abroad, is one of the spouses come to learn. And then after some time, seeing the transformation, seeing the changes, the other partner comes in. Now somewhere I started realizing that the family environment started changing. So I called those people. I had a meeting with all those people, students of mine. I said, this is what I suspect. Is it true or is it an illusion? Because I'm an interested party, so I may elude, probably. Then they said, no, sir, it is really happening. The vibrations have changed. There's a lot of happiness. And then suddenly we gave a task to them. This is how the foundation movement started, really. I said, can you go and teach these emotions, how to manage your life to 8 couples? We call them safe octets. Because I think the spirituality, the happiness, the peace, everybody's right. Today, our own research shows that all the stress that we see all over the world, where does it come from? Somewhere it must have originated, no? It doesn't come on its own. Where is the epicenter? We talk of epicenter, earthquake. Let us talk of epicenter of this stress quake. No? It is in every house. Every house there's a tension. Now, we are not trying to plug that. And Reiki is a very effective way we found. Wherever the families, the couple, the partners, the husband and the wife and the parents and the child, suddenly you realize the whole vibrations have changed. We have found the school, the colleges. We also teach in some of the universities in India. Now the nursing institutes in India are putting Reiki as a part of their curriculum. In fact, I'm trying to reach everybody who use the hands for the social purpose, including the cooks, the chefs. Because if your hands are magical, they spread happiness, so be it. You understand? Doctors, nurses, I think they have good opportunities to pass Reiki on. So this is something which we'll have to understand. I'll talk about this again. Yeah, next slide, please. And specifically, we talk about the learning model, the process of learning, our own understanding as we have, after a lot of synthesizing. See, basically when you say that you're excelling in your examinations or curriculums, what do you mean? It is a 6-step process, or rather 5-step process, I should say. First thing is expressing, or first thing is reading or hearing. This is where it starts. When you read a book, when you hear, listen, thereafter you assimilate. Thereafter you store. Thereafter you retry. And finally you express in your examinations, either viva or written examinations or whatever it is. Now, if you see, these basic 3 processes are happening within the mind. The first and the last is using the body. Now, it is like eating. You eat. Up to that, probably the body is in control. Thereafter, everything is happening which is transparent to you. You really do not know what you have eaten and what is going to happen to what, which vitamins have gone where, which proteins have been defragmented inside. So similarly, these 3 things happen within the mind. And we have realized in the students today, the mind becomes calm. This becomes a beautiful experience. Learning becomes a beautiful experience. In fact, in some of the schools in India, what we have done, we went to the school management and said, give me the last 10 students in the rank. Because not many management would be happy to take risk with the first 10 or first few rankers. So we said, give me the last 10. And you will be surprised, during this year, out of those last 10, they've come in the first 20. So nobody is bad. I'll tell you one small story. Generally, in developing countries, you'll find the people where the water shortages are there, etc. People have to carry the water. And they carry water on their shoulders, with 2 pots on either side. And there's one person like that who has a contract to supply water, something like about, say, 12 liters, or how many gallons? About 4 gallons? 4 gallons, right? About 4 gallons of water a time. And he has 2 pots, carrying about, say, half a gallon each time. So at a time, he's carrying 2 pots, okay? Now, how much he carries? 1 gallon at a time. How many trips he has got to make to deliver 4 gallons? 4 trips, right? Now, what happens, unfortunately, the pot on the back side somehow or other develops a small crack. And when it develops a crack, by the time the water is carried, it is leaked. And by the time he reaches there, only 1/4 gallon reaches, not half of what it should carry. And then that person, the carrier, has to make a couple of trips more. And that pot starts feeling sad about it. So he had a meeting, early morning meeting, review meeting with the boss. And says, boss, change me, because I'm not good. Because see, for me, my sake, you've got to make a couple of trips more, which is hurting. Such a hot and tropical climate. And the boss says, okay, we'll see it tomorrow when we come back, yeah? And the moment he steps out of the house, he tells that part, look what is happening. And just tell me, make a commentary of what is happening. Whatever you're seeing, just comment upon it, just describe. And that pot keeps on describing, saying that there are flowers and roses and whatnot, all kinds of flowers. When it comes back, the pot turns, this pot goes to the other side. And when it is coming back, when it's describing, it says they're absolutely barren. There's nothing, not even a grass, not even a blade of grass there. After coming back, the boss sits with this pot and says, look, pot, I knew you were cracked. But the moment I realized you were cracked, I had a fantastic idea. I said, let me sow the seeds of flower beds on my path. And you kept on watering every time I went. The other pot was just delivering the water. You were also giving me the beauty of life. Why too? I'll make 10 trips because my surrounding is good. My space is so beautiful. So everybody has a goodness, So everybody has some good point in his existence. Nobody is bad totally. Nobody is useless. But the problem is we need to understand how we can use. Reiki really flowers the strength within. It makes you strong. Many a times I think this particular word, problem, is very, very popular word. Problem. Everybody says, oh, I have a problem today. I had 2 problems yesterday. At least once a day we use this word. And I asked a lot of people. And more than 50% people could not define what problem is. And I asked them, what is problem? Oh, problem. What is problem actually? I define the problem is nothing but when the situation becomes bigger than you, there is a problem. Normally situation is not bigger than you. Yeah? For example, this mic stops working, I'll have a problem. And sometimes in some workshops I have this problem. Suddenly there's no electricity, so the mic gone. Problem is because now this doesn't work. And what I do, what one has to do, raise my voice. I know I'm not using even 10% capacity of my voice. I can raise it to 40% and still everybody could hear. The moment you become bigger than the situation, the problem is gone. And you are expandable phenomena. Situation is not. Most of us are trying to work out on situation. In the process, we do not do anything. You forget that we are expandable phenomena. We are unlimited power. We are not experiencing our unlimitedness. Reiki helps you do that. You expand all the time. That's why we call second degree expansion. All the time. You reach anywhere. When I tell people that you become like a god, people don't believe. No, we don't want to believe goodness. That's a problem. No? People feel it's a rumor. It's a lie. But if I say something bad to them, they take it seriously. No, that's why the bad things spread very fast. I asked somebody, the diseases, there's epidemics of diseases. Have you ever heard of epidemic of health? Have you heard of epidemic of happiness? The good things is basically individual phenomenon. And when you don't experience that individual phenomenon, you start calling them the disease or epidemics or whatever that is around. That happiness is within you. The moment you work, see, this works beautifully. When I see after Reiki, the students are more focused. They are more result-oriented. They're more intelligent. They're not only knowledge-based, they're experience-based. The experience digest. There was a great sage, Patanjali, in a Yoga Sutra. I think those who follow yoga would know Patanjali's name. He had a beautiful learning model. He used to say that the knowledge should become you. Like when you eat a bread, after a few minutes, what happens to the bread? You can't really